Good evening and welcome one and all to our first Argo Q&A, live Q&A of 2026. I'm Captain Dave Rowe aboard my lovely vessel Stinkpot here in an undisclosed location in the warmth of Florida. And this evening I am, as always, joined by, of course, Captain Jeff, who's home in Maryland, probably freezing his butt off. Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, a little chilly up here. Yeah, happy to grace Maryland. Glad to be here. Happy New Year, everybody. And tonight we have another guest, which I'll introduce, Huck Haggerty. He has a new business, a marine business called SlipRezi, and we'll give him a chance to talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But we're excited about what he's doing. We've already integrated a lot of what he's done down in Florida into the app, and we'll talk to that as the show goes on. But
thanks for having me.
We're happy to be back. Our marketing team tried to pull us off the show, but Dave and I are we're pretty resistant. we don't have a lot of people that show up for the show live. Hopefully we'll get more here in 2026. I'd love to get more questions from our user base. We do have really good visibility on YouTube and on Facebook after the show runs, but love to get more of you on board Thursday night, 7:00, always the second Thursday of each month. And we're not going anywhere. We had an amazing 2025, and we have even more planned for 2026, and are very excited about what we're going to bring to the app. I can't believe it's been 6 years already, but I think what we did last year and what we have planned this year is going to take the app from what was perhaps a startup app, a newcomer to the marine navigation, to what we hope is the #1 navigation app in the world. And we're serious about that. That's our goal, and we're working hard toward meeting that.
Definitely.
So with that, we haven't released a lot of new features in a couple weeks, and we are going to release a few here, possibly tomorrow or Saturday. You're not even going to see a lot of new features in that release, because what we've been working on the last month is a lot of the under the hood development improvement. We've added binary routes to improve the performance of not only just creating the route, but accessing and bringing it up within the captain's log or the trips log. So what we've done is a new architecture, improved performance. Things are going to be very reliable. The release that's out there right now is already starting to have a few bugs, and that's because of the libraries that we're using. One of the reasons we had to develop this new architecture, but I think you're going to see some real improvements, enhancements in terms of performance there. We got a Happy New Year from
Yes, we did.
Jonathan.
From Jonathan
Lewis.
on.
Yeah.
And this just brings it up. If anybody has any thoughts, comments, or questions, this is the place to drop them. This is a Q&A after all, and it's much less of one without a lot of Q to go with the A. So we'll work on making that happen.
I obviously am from the Chesapeake Bay area myself. That is where we started, and that's where we tested the app. And it's a great test bed. You've got the whole Chesapeake Bay, but Argo can be used anywhere in North America. It's got all the charts, whether it's US, Canada, down in the Caribbean, and those charts are just going to get better and better. And that is another focus for 2026. Couple minor features, and I'll touch on that, and then we can move on. We added kayak launches for any of those users out there that are kayakers. We sort of had thrown them in with boat launches, boat ramps before, but we felt that there was a big enough difference there. We had enough users that were kayaking that we broke them out separately, and we hope to add more as we go along. So you'll see them in the app. We also brought back within our settings the 3D view. It never went away. You could take your two fingers, push up, and you can take turn the map into a 3D view. What kind of went away, and I don't know why, was the settings to set that to where it's on all the time, it's off all the time, or it comes on when you're on a voyage or a trip. So that's back, along with a setting that will allow you to automatically set the map in course up mode. It's standard north up. You can tap the compass and get it to go course up, but we had a user about a month ago really wanted to have the app open in course up mode. He didn't want to always have to tap the compass each time. So I don't know how many users out there will use that feature, but it's available as well. Both are under navigation settings. So we have a lot of interesting settings there that you can have turned on automatically when you start a trip. So you might check that out under settings and then navigation settings. That's what's coming out with the next release. And I think tomorrow, Saturday, some other fun things that we're working on. If you haven't checked out our web app for your desktop, for your laptop, we're always making improvements to that app, trying to catch up to where we are with the mobile app for your phone or tablet. So if you haven't checked that out, it's available from our website. You can log on in the upper right-hand corner. You can do all your planning in that web app, and it syncs directly with the mobile app. So like I said, check that out. Another kind of a neat feature that we're going to be bringing in here in the next week or so is the letting you change the density of the depth numbers. So if you don't feel that there's enough numbers on your chart and you feel a little unsafe, uncomfortable with the amount of numbers, you can adjust that, and we'll just throw more. We know what the depth is everywhere, so we'll just allow you to kind of toggle that and put more depth numbers on your chart, and you can adjust it to how you want. And finally, for any of those that are using groups, yacht clubs, race clubs, things like that, we're adding a feature to allow you to add group pins. We're making that easier than it is now. So if you've got a race coming up, an event coming up, you want to drop certain race marks or other pins, you'll be able to do that. And then all of the members that you have within that Argo group will see those pins. No one else, just your group. Kind of a neat feature. So with that, and I'm looking for questions and not seeing any, but we are here, and not just for Argo. I mean, if you've got boating questions, Dave is on his boat full time. He's a full-time cruiser. We should have mentioned he just crossed the Gulf last night. He might be a little sleepy there because he spent 22 hours in the dark crossing the Gulf.
I am crispy. I'm very crispy.
Yeah.
Jonathan already likes the depth and density feature. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan. I have a question for you, Captain Jeff.
Yes.
Since we're here right now, on my social icon down here, I have I have 5 notifications, and if I go in there, I can see I have 2 messages here. Where are the other 3 of those notifications, and how do I clear them?
Well, you can tap on messages, and
okay,
there should be some badges that give you some indication.
It looks like I have some ahoys here.
I can't see your upper tab, where you indicate whether you have a message request, a message, or an ahoy. But that's where you'll see some badges.
Hang on, let me turn off the eye candy here.
So it looks like you had a few ahoys. Yeah.
All right. But that doesn't account for all 5. So would that be in the feed? Maybe people have been posting things, or?
No, I don't know why you said you have 5. I would go into and tap the menu button in the upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
And let's see if you've got some, you've got notifications and you've got social. What's under notifications?
All right. All right. See, I didn't even know this was here. All right. So I do have an ahoy. I have a couple of messages. All right.
So I,
So it looks like
if you looks like it cleared the
it's clear.
notifications and it cleared the social. There you
See,
go.
that's why I had to ask.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you and everyone on board. Most of our focus is on navigation and navigational features. I think it's a great app from a group perspective and from a family or friends and sharing information. That's why we have notifications. But that hasn't been our biggest focus. But we do think that's a great feature of Argo, unique to Argo in terms of for a navigation app. And we would like sharing and group engagement to increase. So, that's another thing we'll be working on in 2026 is user engagement, finding kind of neat, interesting ways to use some of our sharing and social features. But
Definitely.
it's so unless we have some other questions, I'd love to hear from Huck. I met Huck a couple of years ago. He was working with DocShare, another partner that we have. Um, they're sort of the Airbnb of docs. I mean, if you're looking for a slip, short term, long term, or looking to offer a slip, short term, long term, DocShare is a good choice. Uh, Huck is quite an entrepreneur and lives in Florida, loves the boating, loves the marine space, and he had this idea to start SlipRezi a few years ago, and he's moving pretty quick on it. So, with that, Huck, give us an idea of what that's about and how it's going, and how you're working with Argo with regard to SlipRezi.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was lucky enough to work with DocShare in their early days, right after I think you had started working with them with Argo, and just seeing the adoption of privately owned docks and slips for transient and long-term boaters. I started to realize that there was other applications um, for short-term docking. And one of the issues that I had always faced with my family, I have my six-pack captain's license. I've been boating 26 years between Cape Cod and Marco Island, Florida, and now the Cape Coral, Sanibel, Matlacha area. Loading up the family, especially in Florida, for a day trip to the beach and then to any boat up bar or restaurant. Um, in the middle of season might not be as bad as you think, except for long waits in no wake zones. And in the sun, it might only be 70 degrees, but it feels like it's 85 or 90. And so you've got grandma and the kids on there, and you show up to a full dock that you very easily could have known there was no availability, that there was no vacancy, no slip availability, but they're mostly first come, first serve in the state of Florida. And SlipRezi, we only focus on Florida and Alabama. We're looking for saturation here. I was lucky enough to talk to Jeff about the concept when we started it. We only started the company a year ago, and I self-developed it. And we went and mapped and met with more than 100 different restaurants and bars along the coastline, getting their feedback on what the roadblocks or hurdles would be for instant availability from a dockside restaurant, whether or not they have dock staff or just a host is letting people know whether or not there's availability there. And with the number of users that Argo has, it made sense to integrate SlipRezi right into Argo's location mapping and searching. So the idea being that SlipRezi is building the open table for waterside hospitality docks and slips. so that whenever anybody is leaving their dock, and it's really made for it's made for day trippers. It's made for folks that are going out on the weekends that want to try to have the most seamless experience on the water that includes multiple activities, but almost, I don't know what the percentage is, but many days on the water involve going to your favorite boat restaurants or docks, or even for provisioning. And if you just have a little bit more access and knowledge and um, current availability, you can save a lot of time. And not only that, you can also let somebody know, hey, you might be wanting to go to this dock, but this dock over here at this restaurant, they're not having live music. You can pull right up, family can get off, you can have a wonderful meal, wonderful experience, and then be on your way. And so the goal is, when people auto route, at least in my mind, when people use the auto routing feature on Argo, which I think is personally the best, not because I've worked with you, but because I also own a small rental business, and I do not let people leave the dock without having Argo on their phone, because a lot of people who rent boats, they don't know how to use navigational tools the way that people that own the boat. So I understand how well the app works to get people where they're trying to go in areas that might not be their home base. And so that's really why I built it, was to allow people to find availability at docks and slips that are at restaurants and bars that people love to go, and smooth out that navigation process.
Yeah, if might be wrong with the numbers, but I think you've got somewhere in the ballpark of 300 dock, bars, restaurants on the water that you have within
We've
SlipRezi.
Yeah, we've mapped all Florida docks. So we have 506 locations represented. And like I
Hmm.
mentioned, we met with over 100. We've traveled from Marco Island to Port Richey on the West Coast. And we've traveled from South Miami or Homestead all the way to Jensen Beach, meeting with restaurant owners and getting their feedback and making sure that the product, while it's still very much a beta and an MVP, that the product delivers um, the experience that we would expect, which is one of two things. Either you can ask a dock master or a dock attendant or the host at the restaurant, do you have availability on your dock right now for me? And that's free. And they will tell you yes or no. You say I have a 30-foot boat and I'm looking to get on the dock in 10 minutes. Is there a spot? It won't be guaranteed, but they'll let you know, yeah, there's a spot for you right now. And so you can navigate knowing that hopefully it's still there. And then the other option is just like reservations for a table. You can request a certain time and date, and if the restaurant has turned on the that availability or that option, you can pay in advance for a slip being $20 an hour, and say you're going to be there for 2 hours. It's really made for 3 hours or less of dockage. It's city docks at restaurants, bars, places that you're going to pull up for lunch, drinks, dinner.
So I know you got Florida covered, and I know it's still kind of in the works. You're still getting engagement from the dock, bars, restaurants, and users. Do you plan to expand beyond Florida?
We do, but right now we're hyper focused on Florida, simply
Gotcha.
because it's 12 months out of the year. And once we have the recipe that works in Florida, we can disperse that to um, f- shorter season locations, understanding what works and what doesn't. But we don't think there's any reason that it wouldn't work in the Chesapeake, in Baltimore, on Cape Cod, in Boston, in Maine, California, anywhere where there's a boating community. We're sort of lucky down here. Cape Coral, where I live, is the largest canal system in the world, other than Venice, Italy. There's more canal systems here, and we have, just in this immediate vicinity, 40 restaurants that you can go to by dock. And by boat, some by boat only. They're on islands that you can only get to by boat. So it's a very unique place to learn and figure out what works and what doesn't. In the long run, yes, absolutely. I plan on expanding. I've been in two-sided marketplaces for a long time, and it's chicken and the egg always. Do you get the docks or do you get the boaters first? Do you host or user? And so once we figure out the best way for a deployment, then yeah, we'll start to look at other places. But I think we offer a lot of value to Florida users for Argo and Alabama, simply because 12 months out of the year, boats are in the water, people are going out. It's season right now, and we might have a 40-degree morning, but by middle of the day, 75, and the waterways are active.
So we do have SlipRezi in Argo, but like you said, it's still somewhat an MVP, getting engagement of the restaurant, waterfront restaurants, dock bars. That's going to take a little bit of time, but pretty much any dock bar restaurant in Florida will have a SlipRezi icon, a button. From there, you can get to your application and learn more about what is going on at that location.
Every single restaurant, and I'll finish up with this. Every single restaurant that we met with, the 100, they were in the affirmative of using the product, and they just want to. They said, "Bring us demand, and we will respond." And so we've had about 100 reservation requests, and most of them until last week were on the West Coast, and then we just had our first reservation acceptance at Shooter's Bar in Fort Lauderdale for a 50-foot Sea Ray that wanted to go in for lunch with 8 people. And yes, we do ask, hey, are you going for lunch? Are you going for dinner? Are you going, what do you think you're going to spend? Which can be a sensitive thing, but if you have a boat with 8 people that are going for lunch, and you have a 60-foot boat with 2 people on it that are going to take up 2 spots for 2, it gives the restaurant a little bit more knowledge about food and beverage receipts and the user that's coming in there. I will say that when somebody makes a request right now, for the restaurants that are using it, our average time is 10 minutes or less that they respond, and we're trying to improve that. If we don't get a 10-minute response, I actually contact the restaurant right now and say, hey, could you please let us know if you have availability? And that actually gives me a way into the dock master or the host to say, all I need is your email and your phone number, and from there on out, you can respond to the requests. So it is MVP, but it's working. So
yeah, no, well, great idea. We're rooting for you. I think
appreciate that.
I've tried to get in even up here in Chesapeake Bay into dock bars, and there's no slip, there's no availability. And you're right, if you've taken a 20-minute ride to get there and then you can't get in, it's you've got to look around for where are we going to go now.
Especially when you're the captain and you have a boat full of 6 or 7 people that are having fun, and there's this a little bit of anxiety about whether or not, I hope that there's a spot so everybody's happy with this day. So we're trying to solve that.
Exciting. Well, good luck with that. I know we're working closely with you, and we look forward to continuing to do that and integrate updates within the Argo app.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Unless we've got other questions, the other thing I was going to talk a little bit about tonight was a survey and the survey results. And a little bit about 2026 and what we have planned. In the newsletter last week and in the newsletter this week, we've got a survey kind of asking you what you want us to be working on. I mean, we have our goals, but we'd love to hear from you. What are we going to be working on in 2026? Without getting into the details, much more detailed charting. Also, and that was in the survey, we're going to be adding different weather, wind, current, tide layers onto the map. So better integration of some of these marine weather features. So, and when it comes to wind, integrating that into our routing. So you have more wind weather routing. If not, how
especially
the route
cool
might
for
change.
Sailors, yeah.
Wind's the best window to go. As you know, if you're boating all the time, weather drives what you're going to do. And so hoping to get more of that integrated into Argo. Offline capability. I think we made a lot of headways this year with offline capability, but our goal is to make offline pretty much run by itself by default without being able to do everything, including auto routing. If you want to go online, you want to check things that you can't get to if you are offline, that's available to you, but otherwise the default mode will be offline. That will be a big step. I think a lot of the issues that we do have is when our users get caught between online and offline. It thinks it's got this, it's trying to get to the server for information, but your internet is not strong enough to get there, and then it puts you into this point of freezing, or you may get a spinner for a while. That we want to avoid. So, very clearly, having everything be responsive. If you want to go online and the internet's good enough for you to go online, then you can get that additional information that you might get from our server. So the survey was kind of interesting, and I'll just talk real quickly to some of the things that I was seeing. Dave and I were talking a little bit before we got on tonight. Some of the questions, and I'll start with some of the more basic ones. Do you regularly use Argo or another app? And surprisingly, those that were responding, we had about 70% of the users either only use Argo or the Argo is their primary app. We only had about 30% that were using it alongside of another app, which many cruisers, of course, do. Dave does, and he'll tell any cruiser, you shouldn't have just one app. You need 2 apps. You need the redundancy, and there are things that certain
and the point of view.
Yeah, and a point of view. Yep. So interesting that we have very dedicated users. The other question we asked was, what was your favorite new Argo feature from 2025? And it pretty much mirrored what Dave and I thought, what our favorite features were. Number one was stay in the channel auto routing. I think it's cool that you don't have to stay in if you've got a small boat, a jet ski, things like that. But, you want to be safe, you want to be in the channel. And that's, fortunately, we were able to get that in 2025. The other feature, pretty much just as popular, was just general auto routing. Very fast, very flexible, allows you to add multiple points, whether it's tailoring the route or adding a stop along the way, a marina or a anchorage, a dock bar. So very easy to add these stops along your route. I wonder if there's
Now, you were telling me we're doing something new coming up with the actual look and feel of Argo. Is that right, Jeff?
I did kind of gloss over that in the beginning. That is true. We are changing our base map. Right now we use Google Maps, and it wasn't something for me to gloss over because our main developers are focused on this 100% right now because it's big. It may not be sound big, but it's going to change the look and feel of Argo. It's going to be Argo 3.0. It's probably coming out in the next month. And it's one reason why we're going to be able to add additional chart details, additional marine weather layering, and things like that. It's also going to be a lot snappier, much quicker app. So, Argo is pretty snappy right now, particularly when it comes to auto routing. But this is a nice next step. I think Google Maps was good to us, but the flexibility isn't there for what we want to do. So that's a big change. So you'll be seeing 3.0, Argo 3.0, probably coming out in the next month or so, and that will be big.
I'm just going to tell people I have tried some of the early versions of it, and I can see where it's going, and it's going to be huge, absolutely huge. It's. Argo as it is great, but this is going to be just amazing. I hang on tight. This is going to be fun.
Maybe not as big as getting NEMA integration, because I know that was number one.
That was huge.
That was huge. So what do our users want to see for 2026? And that was kind of interesting. Number one was indeed the weather, wind, and current layers. They were pretty excited about that. Number two was smart routing and navigation. And also kind of right along with that was the more detailed charts, which I said we're focused on. So some of the things I think that they are looking to see, we're working on. So hope to bring that to you in the next few months. So that's it that I had. There was a few more questions, but those are the big ones. I can't really spill the beans on everything we've got going on, but we've got some really great partnerships happening, not only with SlipRezi, but a number of others. And we have some really cool improved features that are coming in 2026 for Argo. So it's going to be a good year. We thank those of you that have been with us for a while, and hopefully you'll stick with us and like what we're bringing you.
Definitely. Well, gentlemen, I see no other questions on the board. We are at the half-hour mark, which is our general target anyway for these monthly Q&As. So I'm unless somebody has a reason. Yes, sir.
Dave and I will be in St. Pete at the show coming up next weekend. So if you guys are in the Tampa, St. Pete area, stop by and see us. We're going to be speaking at 11 a.m. on Thursday and Friday in the seminar series. And we'll have a booth. We'll be there all weekend. And we get a week or so break, and then we're flying to Seattle, and we'll be out there for a 9-day show. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest, stop by and say hi to us. We love our
Seattle Boat
Seattle.
Show. That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we almost forgot that. That's. I'm glad you caught that, Jeff.
Yep.
Huck, thank you for joining us tonight. It was great to hear what's going on with SlipRezi, and that's all exciting stuff. I'm gonna have to try it while I'm here in Florida and put it to the test. Try to get my 44-foot defeaver into some of these dock bars.
Let me know. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited to see where Argo goes this year, but I really appreciate you having me on with you.
Definitely. And Jeff, I'll see you in St. Pete next week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and joining us this evening for this monthly Q&A. We will be doing this again next month on the second Thursday in February, same bat time, same bat channel, which is of course 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again for joining us. We will be with you next month. Bye, everyone.
All right. Yeah. Bye-bye.